It's week 4 of the NFL, but the only thing I care about is that my team in the Experts League is 3-0.
That wasn't the only fluke in week 3. We'll go over some of the strange happenings and get you ready for the first bye.
You know the drill.
It's time for Fantasy Football's 5-Minute Drill, quarterbacked by Cecil Lammey and Sigmund Bloom.
Some big-name quarterbacks have a bye this week, but waiver wire stiffs like Kyle Orton or Jamarcus Russell have bad matchups. If you need to plug a guy in, or you're desperate at quarterback, we suggest trading for Jake Delhomme or David Garrard. Both have disappointed thus far, but have great home matchups and are poised to turn it around.
Correll Buckhalter should and will be at the top of the waiver wire list of every team looking for a one-week plug-in, but there are a few talented backs under the radar who will get enough touches to make some noise on Sunday. Fred Jackson will get all of the garbage time work against a St. Louis team who has already quit on Scott Linehan. And Andre Hall and Jamal Charles both have the ability to break a big play in a game that shouldn't feature much defense.
The Broncos have admitted to running an offense similar to that of the 07 Patriots, and it has certainly paid dividends for Cutler and Marshall owners. If you need some waiver wire help at wide receiver though, don't forget about Brandon Stokely. As we've seen in New England, the number 3 in this scheme can have some big games, especially against poor secondaries like the Chiefs.
Brandon Stokely isn't the only number 3 in a pass-first offense to target on the waiver wire this week. Lance Moore could start if David Patton's groin doesn't get better, and he's playing well enough to earn a big role for the rest of the season. Miles Austin is finally starting to deliver on his immense potential now that he's healthy, and he could eventually pass an inconsistent Patrick Creighton on the depth chart. And there's no reason to think Brett Favre won't continue to have missile lock on Chauncey Stuckey in the red zone.
Against the Browns, Baltimore started using all 3 backs as promised, then featured McGahee, and then featured McClain. We don't think anyone knows how these guys will be used, and the going gets rough with the Steelers and Titans up next. Baltimore will come crashing back down to earth, so if you can move these guys for anything coming off their high-scoring week, do it.
Help is on the way if you're ailing at tight end. Jeremy Stevens caught the game-tying touchdown against Chicago, and he should continue to earn Brian Greasy's trust and more targets. Delaney Walker being more prominent than Vernon Davis might not be temporary. The 49ers were working him out at wide receiver. And if you don't own Jeremy Shockey, that doesn't mean you shouldn't take a look at Billy Miller. Once upon a time, he was the number 7 tight end in fantasy football.
The Chiefs got blown out again, but they did it against a team with a soft run D, which means Larry Johnson actually had a good day. But LJ is losing time to Jamal Charles on passing downs and in the red zone, and he's still hampered by the worst quarterback situation in the league. Now we should have a good game against Denver this week, and we'd use that to move him before his roadie against the Panthers.
Now is the time to trade for Kevin Curtis. Look for weaknesses created by the bye or injuries on his owner's roster and make them an offer they can't refuse. Curtis was top 20 last year while the Eagles were struggling. How good can he be now that the good McNabb is back? If you can't get Curtis, see if the Bobby Ingram or Deion Branch owners are hurting. They'll both be back after the bye.
Andre Johnson's 2 for 29 day against the Titans is officially bad, but we suggest now's the time to go get him in a trade. Andre Johnson still gets plenty of quality targets, including those in the red zone, and not every team has a ferocious defensive backfield like the Titans. Andre's value will go even higher if the Texans decide to put in quarterback Sage Rosenfels, so don't wait too long to get those offers in.
Mike Tomlin said he's not going to have a knee-jerk reaction to Pittsburgh's poor offensive performance on Sunday, and neither should you. This unit is too talented to not produce, even with a porous offensive line. Santonio Holmes is the best trade target of the group. He still looks primed for a third-year breakout. He just hasn't had a chance to show it.
Unless you've got one of the monster defenses like Minnesota or Tennessee, you might be better off switching out defenses each week. Look at what the Falcons did against KC this last week, racking up 3 picks, a couple of sacks, and a touchdown. Along with the Chiefs, the Lions and Rams are always a juicy matchup, and the more quarterbacks that go down, the longer that list will get.
It's time to channel your inner vulture and circle the 0-3 owners in your league. This is their last chance to turn their season around, so they'll be desperate to shake things up. They're going to trade with someone, better let it be you. If Marcus Colston is part of the reason they're winless, then go the extra mile to get a deal done. He might be the piece that puts you over the top in December.
So Bloom, why are you always trashing my teams, bro?
Cecil, everybody knows your wife drafts your team for you.
all original shows all in HD from OnNetworks.com.